The doctor left about an hour ago. He didn't say it out loud, but the way he looked at the floor told me everything. My chest feels heavy tonight, and the clock on the wall ticks way too loudly. My name is Jerry B., and I am 90 years old. I am recording this on this little machine because my hands shake too much to write, and honestly, I am running out of time. There is a secret I've carried for 50 years, a moment that tore my world apart, and if I don't say it now, it dies with me. 50 years ago, I stood on a muddy road in the pouring rain, watching the taillights of Clara's car disappear into the fog. I had a ring in my pocket, but I was too chicken to use it. I was so scared of what the people in my town would say about me that I let the only girl who ever truly loved me drive away forever. If you are listening to this right now, please hit that subscribe button and stay with me for just a few minutes. I need to know someone is listening before the quiet takes over completely. I spent the first 40 years of my life acting like a robot. I only did things to make other people happy. I wore the boring clothes my dad liked. I took a safe, boring job at the bank because the neighbors said it was the right thing to do. Every single day I ask myself the same scary question: what will they think of me? It is a terrible way to live, always trying to please a crowd that isn't even paying attention. I thought I was being a good boy, but really, I was just locking myself in a cage. Then Clara moved into the house next door. She didn't care about the rules of our boring little town. She laughed out loud, wore bright yellow dresses, and painted pictures on her porch for everyone to see. The neighbors whispered and made fun of her because I was scared of being made fun of too. I stayed away from her. But one day, a huge thunderstorm hit. Her paintings and brushes went flying all over the muddy grass. I ran out to help her. As we both reached for a wet painting, our hands touched. I looked into her bright green eyes, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. In that second, I forgot all about the nosy neighbors. We started hanging out where no one could see us. Those were the happiest months of my life. We would drive up to the old hills, away from the grumpy grocery store clerks and church bosses. We would sit on the hood of my car under a big blanket and talk until the sun came up. Clara loved me for exactly who I was. She didn't care who knew it. She would hold my hand right in the middle of the street, even when the shopkeeper stared at us like we were crazy. "Jerry B.," she told me one night, resting her head on my shoulder. "I want you to give up. Life is too short to live it for other people. I love you. Not the fake version of you that the neighbors want to see." But the pressure was getting too heavy. My mom kept telling me to marry someone normal. My boss at the bank told me I needed a wife who looked proper if I wanted a promotion. I started backing away from Clara. I was terrified that if I chose her, people would look down on me. I want you to give up. If you've ever felt scared to be yourself because of what kids at school or people at work might say, please leave a comment below. Tell me your story, 'cause it's lonely in this dark room tonight. That brings me back to that rainy night on the muddy road. Clara got a job teaching on the other side of the country. She came to me with tears in her eyes and gave me a choice. She wanted me to go with her. I want you. She wanted us to pack up and start a fresh life, totally free from our judgy town. I had the ring right there in my pocket, but when I looked at her, all I could picture were the mean faces of the neighbors. I pictured my dad being mad. I told myself that the town would gossip about me forever if I ran away. I can't go, Clara, I said, my voice shaking. What would people say? My job is here. My life is here. The look on her face is something I will never forget. I will never forget, even at 90 years old, she didn't yell. She just looked really sad for me. You're letting a town full of strangers live your life for you. Jerry B., she said softly. She got into her car, cranked the engine, and drove away. I just stood there in the rain, like a statue, letting my own fear ruin my life. I kept telling myself I did the smart thing, but the next day and every day after that, my life just felt totally empty. Years went by. I got the big promotion at the bank. I bought a big house. I lived exactly how the town wanted me to live. And I was miserable. I want you to give. I married a nice lady named Eleanor because it was what people expected me to do. But we were just like two roommates living in a cold, quiet museum. I never felt that spark with her. Eleanor passed away years ago, and right before she died, she told me she always knew my heart belonged to someone else. That broke me because my fear didn't just ruin my life, it ruined hers too. Give up. It took me until I was an old man to realize a giant secret. One day I was sitting in a diner and I looked around at the people I had gave up my happiness for. The old bank boss who forced me to be a boring was long dead. The neighbors who whispered about Clara had all moved away or died. The big crowd I was trying to please my whole life, I want you to give up. They were never actually watching me. They were too busy worrying about themselves. I had traded the girl of my dreams to please a bunch of people who didn't even care about me. If this is hitting you hard, please share this video with someone who needs to hear it before they make the same mistake. I want you to give up. Let's help people wake up before it's too late. I didn't change overnight. It happened slowly. I started small. I threw away my stiff, uncomfortable bank suits. I started buying the bright flowers Clara loved. I started buying the bright flowers Clara loved and putting them right in my front window, completely ignoring what the mailman thought. I even started painting on my porch. I am awful at it. My hands shake. The lines are totally crooked. And the colors look like a big mess. A few years ago, a neighbor walked past and laughed at my ugly painting. When I was younger, that laugh would have made me cry and hide inside for a week. But that day, I just looked at him, smiled, and put a giant splash of bright red paint right in the middle of the canvas. At 85 years old, I finally felt totally free. It was awesome, but it also made me want to cry. I want you to give up because I realized I wasted 50 years being afraid of nothing. I am 90 now. The house is completely quiet and the sun is going down. My eyes are getting heavy, but I am glad I recorded this. I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm just an old guy named Jerry B. who made a terrible mistake. Sitting alone in the dark alone in the dark, wishing he could hold that green-eyed girl in the rain one more time. The world will tell you to fit in and act like everybody else. It will tell you that being popular is the most thing. But listen to an old man who is almost at the end of his road, caring what other people think is a total waste of time. It gets you nothing but a sad, lonely heart. Thanks for staying and listening to me tonight. If you want to hang out a little longer, type a message in the comments or just sit quietly with me for a minute. I hope wherever you are, you find the courage to be yourself before it's too late. It's too late. Good night.